So we've got the drum kit here mic'd pretty much entirely with Verges and Edge mics. Maybe Cameron, you can tell us a little bit about your mic choices.
Well,
placements rather, yeah.
We chose the Verges for the all-close miking, just because they can handle the level, and the Quadro for the overhead, and Duo on the kick drum.
There's an interesting decision here to place this reflection screen above the two kick mics. I think maybe when we were listening to the sound, there was a bit too much of a cymbal spill.
There was a lot. She's very loud on the cymbals, so there was a lot of cymbal spill into the kick drum, especially the Duo mic. There's a lot of spill into that, so we just put that over to protect it a little bit from the top end spill.
I noticed that you've placed the tom mics quite close to the center, looking at sort of the middle of the skin.
Yeah.
Is that something that you usually do?
That's what I usually do. I just find you get a fuller, rounder sound if you're sort of aiming in towards the center of the drum. I tend to try for a more natural sound by
I'm probably in the mix.
You
anyway edited the tom mics. You wouldn't leave the spill there. You just only.
I quite often do leave the spill.
Oh, you leave the spill.
I do.
Okay.
Like I said, I keep it more natural and more open sounding rather than heavily processed.
What about the hot mic? I mean, there's a lot of people arguing that, well, hot mic, why would you want that? But I guess maybe the song calls for that in this case.
Yeah, it's always good to have it there. Like quite often you won't use it, but it's good to have it there. And in this song, yeah, it is being used.
Kind of sort of in between the bell and the edge of the hut, I guess, just for more
It's just
balance.
angled slightly away just to try and help with the separation. Yeah, it's a crystal mic, Turner crystal mic, that I just usually sling under the kit, and that kind of gives quite a crunchy sound. It's just really nice to blend it in with the rest of the kit.
Oh, and we've got this funky mic here. So there is an edge solo right there, right in the middle of the kit, sort of, I guess, pointing at this kind of at the snare.
In between the kick and the snare.
Kick and the snare.
Sort of.
You're punishing this one with a distressor, aren't you?
One's got the distressor and one's got the 1176. I think it's this one. I think this is distressing. Yes.
Right. I saw the gain reduction meter showing about 25 dB of reduction.
All the lights were on.
Typical, right? Yeah. And it's all in red. Yeah, that's nice. And we've got also here the Edge Quadro, which is stereo mic. We still have some tracking to do, so I'm not going to show this, but you can just spin the top diaphragm freely 360 degrees. And essentially it would be very easy to vary the recording about the angle between the two mics and therefore have a narrower or wider stereo image for the cymbals. I personally usually go, put the overhead mic sort of from there, so this is the central axis, so that kind of the snare and the kick stay in the middle of the stereo image. But that's also, a really valid way of doing it. And you know, currently the axis is kind of like that, so the snare is a little bit on one side and the kick's a little bit on the other side. And we just spoke with Cameron about this. Maybe he can say.
I just feel like when you do that, it just gives the snare to one side a little bit and the kick to the other side. Just gives a little bit of dimension, a little bit more dimension to the kick, makes it sound a little bit more natural.
Yeah, it will give a bit of width to the kick and the snare. I guess maybe you will be high passing the overheads. Or?
I have already high passed.
Oh, you already did that. Yeah.
We've got the WEM Dominator, which is his main guitar amp, and he also splits the signal off to a bass amp, in this case the Bassman, and through a 212 cab. These pedals are both feeding both those amps, so we have
the Dominator on the top with the Verge mic, the close mic, and a solo
down there
on the bottom on the orange cap, yeah.
And then just the duo back here, just picking up a blend of both amps.
That one's a bit more distant, and you know, it's picking up a bit of the ambience of the room, right? So that might also be quite an interesting one to play with in the mix and see if the polar pattern changes also.
Halfway through, I switched that round to Omni. So.
Okay, it's really loud in here.
So this is the vocal area. Charles played guitar and singing what we assume is a guide vocal at this point.
Well, we're using the Edge solo here for the vocals. You know, difference, the Edge Duo comes with its own pop shield that is attached to the shock mount, which is quite nice. But in this case, we thought that, you know, the duos that we had, we wanted to use them for different purposes. And, you know, it's pretty normal to use a cardioid polar pattern for vocals. And so the Edge solo basically allows you to change the different mic models, but you're only left with a cardioid polar pattern, which in this case was absolutely fine for us.
I can't think straight when you're looking over my shoulder. Every turn that you take, I get a little colder. Pick it up and put it in, me and my monster. There's too much at stake for us to fall in love again today. But I won't break.
We've got Charles not only singing here, but also playing his guitar. You can see his pedal board over there. And the idea of placing him inside this booth is to, well, it would have been pretty difficult to record his voice next to the super loud drummer. She has a really strong hit, which I think is really good for this track. As you can see, there's quite a bit of care taken to reduce the spill and, you know, have maximum separation. So we've got the vocals here, and Charles playing his guitar, but instead the guitar amps are over there in a separate room. The drums are here, but then the bass is also separated by, you know, some glass windows, and in this way we can get better control in the mix.